You know, a while ago I promised myself I would never go on stage in shorts. Luckily tonight we're in a living room. I'm Charlie. I was raised Catholic, but as I'm sure you can guess, I lost interest pretty early. Basically, as soon as I realized you couldn't boil down holy water and extract pure divinity, I was actually like, what's the point of any of this? If it works for sea salt, why doesn't it work for the Holy Ghost? The mystery of faith. So now I consider myself more of a spiritual person, but mainly just like on my phone. Like, you know when your iPhone gives you featured photos, just like the random pictures from your camera roll that pop up? Those are my tarot cards. Those, I think, just have so much to say about like where my life is heading. Like, oh, a picture of my Prius that I took in 2017 to remember where I parked. The Chariot. Forward motion. Positive momentum. Like, oh, a screenshot of the mom from Good Luck Charlie's anti-vax tweets. The High Priestess. It's time to reflect and retreat. Things are not as they seem. You're like, oh my god, a cute selfie I took because I thought the lighting was nice. The Fool. Yeah, lack of judgment. It's not safe. Turn back now. I won't tell you what the One of Swords is, but I will tell you I've got romance in my future. I'm dropping mics, baby. Usually if that doesn't make me feel anything, I'll then go in to find my friends and start looking for constellations. Someone's on the train, that's a shooting star. It's gonna be a good night. It's Pride. I know Leah already asked who's dating. Can we get a refresher? Who's dating? Cool. A lot of you broke up between sets. I had to get off the apps. It's just too many mozzarella sticks at a certain point. But now I'm trying to be more positive about dating and trying to like reframe some of my negative thoughts. The other day I went on a really like boring first date and I left feeling so frustrated. I was like, oh cool, we had absolutely no interest in common. Awesome. And then on my way home I was like, hold on a minute. We'd be incredible trivia partners. Right? Our knowledge kind of covers the watershed, right? Like, honey, I don't want you in my bed, but I sure do want you at my high top. God forbid they start calling out anime questions. In that case, you are my man. I had someone else tell me he thought I had too many walls up. I said, honey, that's how the house stays standing. And let me tell you, most of them are load bearing, so let's think twice before we get all swing happy with the sledgehammer. Might not like open concept Charlie as much as it did. It's Adam and Steve, not Adam and Steve and Chip and Joe. Also, a guy told me recently, you behave like you have a god complex. Took a second, I was like, sure, who's the god of wine again? Just kidding, it's Dionysus. Bacchus to the Romans. Which, speaking of which, do you ever think about like how many of the great works of art throughout history exist because gay guys didn't have access to social media yet? Because like thinking about it, if I were around in like ancient Greece, I have to imagine I would have felt about like Athena, very similar to the way I feel about Lorde in the current day. But like to get that energy out, I can just tweet her lyrics with a gif of Abby Lee Miller and like, go on with my day. But my queer elders didn't have the same privilege. They had to kind of like dedicate their whole lives to stonemasonry and build temples just to scratch the same itch. You've heard this meeting could have been an email. How about this wonder of the world could have been a fan cam? God forbid my tweets end up in the British Museum. We all know they belong in the Smithsonian. I turned 25 recently, and people say like that's when your brain develops. I'll say the main difference I've noticed is every time I'm at a family event now, I spend the whole time panicked that I'm not asking enough oral history questions. Like, I'll be damned if my grandchildren don't know where Aunt Janet was when the Challenger exploded. Phoenix is where she was. But I'm the youngest in my whole generation, so I've caught myself even doing it to like older cousins. I'll be like, so what was it like living through the Y2K scare? Did you take all your money out of the banks? They're like, well, I was 7 and you were also alive, so not not really the person to ask. It's true, I was born in 99. Anyone else? Yeah. So I was born in 1999, which means I was alive for 9/11, but I don't remember 9/11. Cuss. But I did recognize pretty early that there was like a lot of like social capital in remembering 9/11. Not sure where I got that idea. But so, like even from a young age, I would kind of like budget to seem like I would was a more mature child than I was. I actually won the 5th grade poetry slam with a poem called "Remember," which was, of course, an entirely fabricated account of that fateful day. From the 2-year-old? No way! I was just kind of like saying anything. I was like, "Mom cries, dust flies." A man on TV with evil in his eyes. It's like, what are you talking about? You were getting your diaper changed. Like, multiple teachers were brought to tears. They were like, "You have to submit that to a literary magazine." I was like, "I can't. It's too painful still." History does make me sad sometimes. Shocker. I was getting really sad the other day. I was getting really sad the other day because World War II didn't get its own name. It breaks my heart. Because, call me crazy, I don't think there's a ton of dignity like fighting and dying in a sequel. And like, World War I had its own name originally, the Great War. That's iconic, it's catchy, it kind of captures the gravitas, right? I'll say it, it's sexy, damn it. And I get that they wanted to show the two are related, but I think maybe they should have used the colon method in naming World War II. Like, imagine if World War II had instead been called the Great War, Catching Fire. Now we're sitting up in history class, right, folks? The Great War, Empire Strikes Back. Low-hanging fruit, it's right there, it's applicable. Call me crazy, the squeakquel. There's something there, right? I have interesting ideas. Put me in the writer's room of the powers that be and let me think a little bit. Because people also love to say, like, World War III is closer than ever. World War III could start at any moment. And, like, in my opinion, I'm like, if it starts and we call it World War III, go ahead and drop the bombs. Because, like, I'm not interested in living in a world so artless. What are we really protecting at that point? Last one ended 80 years ago. Is it an IP issue? Trying to extend the copyright of world wars. So that's kind of my stuff about war, media, CNN generation. I have a tendency, this is my last thing, I have a tendency to kind of like hear a snippet of a conversation or like a passing phrase and it'll really stick with me from its just like sheer poetry and nature, do you know what I mean? Obviously. The other day my dad was telling me about a party he had been to that had one of those like tables covered in nachos, do you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like sickening in both senses. And he was describing it to me and he goes, "Oh my God, there were nachos for days, it was nacho night." I was like, "Do you know what you just said?" Because like, that's beautiful. The sheer parallel structure alone kind of killed me. Like, I truly feel Robert Frost could have written that had he lived to see Tostito scoops. More recently, I was walking down the street, a woman was on the phone, she passed me. All I heard from her conversation was, "And I'm sad that we didn't get to go to Boise." That's a country song. Like, 11 words and it tells a whole story. I'm sad that we didn't get to go to Boise. Love, loss, adventure, remorse, the false promise of the American West. Shit, I'm sad too. The one I'll never forget though, I was at the bagel place in my college town and a mom was trying to get like her 2 sons ready to leave and she's like grabbing them, she's like, "JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ?" This was how I looked in that moment. I was like so shocked. It was like, sit with it. JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ? JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ? There's something almost circular to it. JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ? JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ? You know what I mean? A little New Orleans bounce in there. Like, would you not believe me if I now told you that mother was Nicki Minaj? JP and Peter, did you finish your OJ? All these bitches are my sons. JP and Peter is her sons, and Onika equals burgers. Thank you so much. Happy Pride!